Happy Thursday night for those of us who are tuning in live today on Star Wars News Net Live. Technology sucks. It is the worst. The fact that we are so dependent on technology drives me insane.
Whoa.
I don't know if you're
no
able
kidding.
to notice.
Speaking of that.
See, this is perfect. It's all stupid and everything is pointless. Nothing we do matters. Sorry. I got it out of my system now. We're good to go. Star Wars News Net Live here on Thursday. How we doing, Brian and Jay?
We're here.
Definitely having some technical snafus, but hey, that's how you know we're live, right?
Well, live. We weren't even live before. I'm just trying to literally get my stuff set up, and I can't even get any of my crap to work. It's like the third week in a row anyway. So at some
In
point,
through the nose, out through the mouth.
Hey, we're here.
I
We're
know.
here. We can get through this.
Some child tomorrow is gonna say something, and it's gonna just be the final straw. I'll be like, what is wrong with you? Regardless, I have just a fun activity for us to play today. Before we talk about Attack of the Clones, we've been doing our saga reviews and everything, so I want to get into that. I'm sure that Jay has an iconic character to kill off tonight. I'm sure Anakin, isn't probably gonna make it through the evening before he's snapped away by Jay. But before we get into that, there was a lot of just little nuggets of news that were dropped in the last 4 days. Nothing super substantial, I'd say. Just little rumors here or an idiot saying something here, little things like that. And so I'm just gonna throw just these things at you real quick and give me your first initial response for it. That's all I want to know. We'll popcorn it. So Brian will go first, then Jay, then the next point will be Jay, then Brian. So here we go. Are we ready?
Bring it on.
Let's do it.
Okay, so first off, and some of these were just stuff that we've published on Star Wars Newsnet during the week that I thought we could bring up, and then some of them were from our friend Miguel's Sunday post that he does, where he kind of goes in depth into some things. So I'll kind of point those things out. First, rumor is that Sean Levy's Star Wars movie that's supposedly in the works may involve Rey. Now, he's currently wrapping up Deadpool 3, but this would be the second Rey, we don't know if it's a Rey movie, but it would be the second movie involving Rey on some level, if this is true. Brian, thumbs up or thumbs down? Thumbs down for Brian. He's out on Rey, of course, but I'm sure because actually Brian's a big Rey fan, I'm sure that's him saying thumbs down. He just thinks that the rumor isn't true, and he's upset that it's not true.
That's exactly it.
Jay, what about you? Thumbs up, thumbs down on this one.
I'm thumbs up on that one. I mean, I think if they're gonna bring back Daisy Ridley, I feel like they should involve her more in some capacity.
Just go all in.
I mean, the other thing is too is how else are you gonna expand past Rise of Skywalker and create a new timeline going forward? So I think that's probably pretty viable.
In the chat, for those of us tuning in, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down for each one of our quick hitters today. Your thumbs up, yes, give me more Rey, or thumbs down. I'm fine with the one movie. I'm moving on. Okay. I'm going 2 thumbs up. I'm breaking the tie. Thumbs up for me. Go Rey. Everything Daisy Ridley. Granted, this could not even involve Daisy Ridley. This could be something completely different. It's also important to note that Sean Levy's currently wrapping up Deadpool 3, so who knows if this movie will ever actually, hit the ground running. I just thought it was interesting. Next thing, Star Wars Bounty Hunters is finished its comic run this week. It's been an up and down comic run, but a big 30-page finale this week for Bounty Hunters. I am sure it is epic. There we go. We need episodes 10, 11, 12. More Rey and Ben for Manslayer. That's a thumbs up over there. Brian just completely getting obliterated right now.
I don't care.
So Star Wars Bounty Hunters finishes comic run this week. Thumbs up for are you a Bounty Hunters fan? Was this good, or and you're fine with it moving on, or thumbs down? We needed more Bounty Hunters, it needed to keep going, or you don't like the issue? Just general thumbs up, thumbs down. Jay?
I was never a big Bounty Hunters guy, so thumbs up. Okay. I'm more looking forward to actually I'm looking forward to Jango Fett this year. The
Mhm.
Jango Fett comic. Yeah. Perfect tie into Attack of the Clones.
Another
Hey.
that's just a bounty hunter, but you know, it's just saying, but we're still doing bounty hunters, I guess. But with Django, but that's gonna be a pretty good comic. So thumbs up from Jay. Bounty is done. Hooray, hooray! Let's move on. Brian, thumbs up from
Yeah.
Brian as
Yeah,
well.
it ran like 20 issues too long. It
20
was
issues too long.
just that should have been a limited series, and that should have been it.
It was so basically it went to like Arrow from if you ever watched CW like shows when
Yeah.
Arrow got
Wow,
like
yeah.
season
Yeah,
8
like
or
halfway through
something,
season 3, and it was just
Oh.
derailed. Yeah. Yeah.
That's how I am at that point. Okay.
They should have only ran the Bounty Hunters comic during like the War of the Bounty Hunters thing, like during that whole like crossover. That's all that should have been.
Right. No,
I'll die.
yeah.
I'll die on that hill.
I would agree with that. So let's go. This isn't necessarily a thumbs up, thumbs down. This is just like a personal venting session that it's time to happen. So I don't know if you guys saw a couple days ago. I don't remember if it was Monday or Tuesday. I think it was Tuesday. The little rumors from some of the different sites that were saying that the Ray movie was indefinitely delayed because of quote unquote the creative differences and writers are leaving and everything. And this is just days after Daisy
Daisy.
had talked about just talked about this, you know, she hasn't had the script yet, but she's excited about the direction. She's doing interviews. We have directors, people involved in this talking about the movie and interviews. Like it's not it's this to me this screamed utter nonsense and people just trying to clickbait nonsense. So thumbs up for annoyed at the grifters, thumbs down if we're like okay with these clickbait stuff. Anyone thumbs up,
As
get
much
rid
as
of
I want them to be true, as much as I want them to be true,
You're such a hater.
they're not. Yeah, no, it's still going.
Okay, next quick hitter. Andor season 2. This was a couple days ago at the Emmys. Andor season 2 from Cassian Andor. Oh my gosh, from Diego Luna. Cassian Andor is not real. People in the chat, I want you to know that I know that Star Wars is not real. Just clarification. Diego Luna, 7 days left of filming, so Andor pretty much done at this point. What's our excitement level? Thumbs up for super excited about this. Thumbs down for we need a break from Andor. 2 thumbs up.
We're good.
Absolutely. Andor
Bring
is
it on.
amazing. 2024 is going to be awesome, but 2025, I'll be honest, with the Andor season 2 coming and the fact that we'll probably have hopefully 2 movies deep into production with some trailers and some new announcements and things
Maybe
like
we'll
that.
finally get the trailer for the Acolyte.
Or maybe the Bad Batch season 3 trailer will come out next year after it's over too. they're gonna all the shows that come out this year.
Yeah, we're gonna watch the
Are gonna
trailer.
come out, and then they're gonna send like these 2-minute fan cams of the show, basically like, here's the trailer you never got right here.
We're gonna watch the trailer and be like, "Hey, it made it into the trailer. Remember that scene that made it in? Cool."
They're gonna release the actual grainy footage from someone's iPhone that they took. It's like that's the actual trailer
already.
No, it's still gonna be the same grainy image. They're just gonna take Joe Smith's image on there and they're just gonna put it on their own and say, "There you go." Okay.
Guys, quit whining about it. Here you go.
Oh, I really thought we might get the Bad Batch trailer today. I was a little disappointed. Andor season 2, 7 days left of filming. Okay. Here we go. I know this is gonna get some thumbs up all the way around. High Republic Phase 3 is in full swing. High Republic Adventures this week. We got the new Marvel run that comes out this week. I just finished Escape from Valo yesterday, and then I'm starting Defy the Storm tomorrow. So I'm super into Phase 3. So 2 thumbs up for all of the High Republic content right now, or are we High Republic out yet?
No, bring it on.
No, we're
I'm looking for some more.
I just finished Phase 2 yesterday.
It's I don't
bring it on.
Oh, you finished Phase 2.
Finished
you
Phase
finished
2, yep.
Nice.
Cataclysm and Path of Vengeance and all that stuff.
Yep. Just finished. I finished Quest for Planet X, and then polished off with the short stories in
Tales of Light and Life.
Yes, thank you. That's what it is.
Oh.
I'm actually on that as well.
Yeah.
I just finished The Blade by Charles Soule.
Oh, so good.
I can't. Okay, so like, I love that series to death, and I can't believe like it's actually leading to more. And then Charles Soule just recently put out that newsletter saying what he's working
Right.
on. He didn't even
Mhm.
mention the sequel to the
Yeah.
Blade, and I'm
I
like,
know.
where
Oh,
is
don't
it?
even get me started. Like it literally leads with him going to Bardata to where he ends up getting like his name as the play, and we don't get a. I want to see that so
Right.
bad.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And anyway, so yes, High Republic Phase 3, full swing. Let's do it. Everything High Republic. It's like a drug. I just need more. But I finished Escape from Valo. It's midnight, and I'm like, I have basketball practice in 5.5 hours. I have to get up for, but I'm just ready to start Defy the Storm right now. Like
I don't know.
let's go.
I don't know if you guys saw, like, but in the Discord chat, I texted Nate in the books and comics section, who's our, like the one who
Mhm.
hands us our assignments for reviewing the books and comics. And I literally just texted Nate saying like, "Say, Nate, you got any more Star Wars books that you're reviewing?" And then I texted him the Dave Chappelle like crackhead, like, "Hey, you got any more?"
Oh, it's a drug, man. It really
Yeah.
is a drug. I am a full-on addict. All right, so rumor is circulating. This is good for you, Brian, right here. Rumor has been circulating about a Bounty Hunters or Tales of the Sith spin-off from the Tales of the Jedi. Could that be the big animation news for the
Yeah.
year? For the
Yes.
year, not just a series, but could this be the big
Yes.
one for the year?
Yes.
Yes?
Bring it on.
You're
Yes,
all
I
in?
want to be so right on that prediction. I want to be so right on that. I want that so bad. I need Tales of the Sith. My soul yearns for Tales of the Sith. I need that. I need it. Well, like today, I was working on the interview that Nate had with George Mann. We were putting that together and everything.
Right.
And I was listening to that interview, and I was like, that's such a good interview. And like, I love George Mann so much because of like Dark Legends. I loved Dark Legends. Give me some
Yes.
Tales of the Sith. I eat that crap up. I love it.
What about you, Jay?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
remember, if you say no, you're off the screen.
No,
I'm
I mean, like,
kidding.
I think I'm really looking forward to that. I think, hey, more Tales, anything would be exciting.
Right.
I'm curious though, like, I mean, it's not like it's
Tales
if
of the
that's like their
Jawas.
if that's their big animated series going forward, I wonder like how long that's gonna be for, because
Mhm.
I don't think that in my head I can see it for more than maybe a few volumes, maybe
Right.
4. But I think there's a lot of potential there. In my characters we'd like to see in Tales of the Jedi season 2 article that I wrote a few weeks back, someone mentioned that they want to see Dr. Aphra. And
Hmm.
if Tales of the Bounty Hunters is a real thing, that would be, she's like number one that needs
Yeah,
to be in
window,
Tales
yeah.
of Tales of the Bounty Hunter. So yeah, actually, if that's true, and I'd love to see Dr. Aphra in that.
I'd watch Tales of the Bounty Hunter. I'll be honest, I could not care less about a Tales of the Bounty Hunters. I really couldn't care less. We've had the Boba Fett show. We've had so much bounty hunter stuff
Right.
in
Yeah.
Clone Wars. There's literally the Bounty Hunters comics. I'm good on bounty hunter
Yeah.
stuff right now. I would love to see the Tales of the Sith or just the Tales of the Jedi that just delved into different eras of the Jedi, like more fleshed out. That's probably what I would want.
I
Brian, what
still
were you
want
gonna
the
say?
story. I still want the story that Han was talking to Leia about on Hoth that we never got in the comics was, when he's leaving to go back
The
to
bounty hunter
Jabba's
on Ord
bounty
Mantell.
hunter on Ord Mantell. We never got that story. So yeah, I would do Tales of the Bounty Hunter just if they were going to put that story in there. I need that story.
Okay,
And I
we
need it
can
to
do
be
that,
canon.
and then we can watch the one where Tobias Beckett shoves and kills Aura
Aura
Singh and
Singh,
just pushes her
yeah.
off with a one-off thing
That'd be a good
in
one.
Solo. Okay. All right, so we have 2 episodes. That's it. Sorry. No more. That's all. Actually, I'll take an Ochi of Bestoon going with Vader to
I'd watch one of those.
Exegol.
That'd be sick.
That would be sick.
I'd watch that.
That was something that I remember reading about in Shadows of the Sith. I was like, okay,
Such a good
you
book.
got me. I'm kind of hooked now.
I love
Okay,
that book.
Next one. David Benioff, David Weiss said they were planning a First Jedi movie. That was their original pitch to Lucasfilm, the one that they were moving forward. Obviously, things didn't work out. My question for you, real quick. Let's give me a thumbs up if you would have liked to see that project to fruition. This is without knowing that we would have the Dawn of the Jedi. Like before we knew
Mhm.
that. Like, is that from those people? That movie, is that something you would be, down for? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Okay, Brian,
Ooh.
why thumbs up?
I think that's awesome. I think that's a awesome idea. And even when they were attached, I think that was the rumor circulating that that's what they were working on and what they were doing. Yeah, no, I'm all for. I'm would have been all for that. Absolutely.
Right, Jay.
After Game of Thrones.
I've okay. So with Game of Thrones,
Okay.
I've read the books, but I've never seen the show.
Oh.
So there's an element there. Yeah, that's a
Sure.
variable you have to take into account.
Brian,
No,
are you ready
that's
to
reasonable.
die an old man knowing you'll never read the end of the
Yeah.
Song of Ice and Fire?
I've
Jason?
accepted
I am.
it.
I
I've
am
accepted
too.
it. Yeah, it's just part of me. Yeah, that's it's just it is what it is. The sky is blue. There's certain certainties in the world: death, taxes, and we'll never get to finish Game
And
of
that
Thrones.
George Rummer will never finish his series. Okay, Jay, thumbs down because of Game of Thrones season 8.
Yeah, I mean, after that whole thing, that whole shebang, the back or whatever you want to call it, it's just like I don't know if I want them near
Right.
this series.
That makes sense. Okay, so I'll break the tie, and I think I lean towards Brian. Not that I don't want to see the story. It's really hard because they are very talented. I don't want to say that they're not talented storytellers because some of Game of Thrones is absolutely the best TV ever, and I don't want to hear people say all this stuff about how well they took adapted. Well, you still have to adapt it for TV. However, because I am a bit of an annoying, person that gets too excited about some of these things sometimes, I just the taste in my mouth from Game of Thrones season 8, I just know I would go into this movie with some just irrational anger without having even seen the movie, just because I'm still mad at them for what they did to that show, which is not fair to them. It's not fair to the movie. It's not fair to Star Wars. It's not even fair to me. But I just know that would happen, and I don't need those vibes in my life at this point. So I'm kind of glad they decided to go do their own thing, because I think that Mangold's Dawn of the Jedi movie, I think, which is going to push it probably even more back with this Origins of the Force. That intrigues me a little bit more, I think, than just the first Jedi per se. But yeah, so congrats, Brian. You win. That's it.
Yay! I got one. Yes.
I got him. I got him. Great kid. Don't get cocky. All right, last one. So Mando and Grogu movie should go into production this year. That's kind of the general consensus. That's what they said. Lucasfilm, Star Wars said so. That's what everyone's thinking. It should happen relatively quickly, you'd think, given the timelines, if they're wanting to get this out in May 26 or sooner, depending on if the release date could get shuffled around. Here's the thing, and this I want to hit on this. Miguel wrote about this extensively in his Sunday piece, where he talked about Pedro Pascal's schedule, if he's going to record lines for the movie. Obviously, he'll have, like it said, he has The Last of Us coming up. Apparently, his role in the game is he's only gonna be needed for like 4 to 6 weeks probably to film that, according to Miguel. Obviously, I as a big Last of Us stan, I'm mulling on this. Jay, sorry, that was just for Brian. You weren't on that show when we had about a 1 hour discussion on The Last of Us season 2.
Yeah, we
Brian
got off
and Miguel
live. Yeah,
are just going at it, and I'm sitting there going, just like mouth open, like I have no idea what's happening right now.
We finished the stream and went off air, and then we stayed for like an hour and a half, just like talking about The Last of Us and everything.
Yeah.
And the whole time Tyler is seriously sitting there just staring at the camera, like, I don't get. What? Like,
That sounds like Miguel, though. That
Yeah.
sounds like him.
yeah.
Yep.
And so he kind of went into Pascal's schedule because he's got that. He has another movie with Emma Stone that's going to be recording. He's not like a lead for that, but he's going to be there for a while. He mentioned how you've probably heard he's going to be not Professor X, in
Reed
Fantastic
Richards.
Four.
Yeah.
Reed Richards in Fantastic Four. I don't know why my mind went to Patrick Stewart and Professor X for a second. And Charles Xavier. Anyway, so he's gonna be Reed Richards in Fantastic Four. This man's booked and busy doing
Yeah.
all sorts of stuff. And so I guess the quick question I want to throw to you, this is going to be in the theaters on the big screen. This is a feature film. And if you ask me, I think it is an absolute travesty if he does not take his helmet off
I
and
was gonna
fill
say that.
scenes with Pedro actually really acting.
Fair,
And the stunt people that they have in the suit are awesome. They do a fantastic job doing all of that. But Pedro is a world-class talent, world-class actor, and we've only seen him without his helmet off a handful of times, and those are the most emotional, the best story beats in the entire show, in my opinion, are when his helmet is off and he's doing something for Grogu or with Grogu. It'd just be a travesty if he is not, helmet off acting. So, do you think that we will get? So they'll find some time, they'll find a way to work that into his schedule, and he will make that commitment as well. Do you think it's going to happen, or do you think they're writing this movie right now as Pedro is just going to be recording some lines for us, and that's about it? So, Brian, I'll throw it to you first.
I think they're gonna plan both ways, and then whichever way it goes is the one they go on. There was an example. Oh, I can't remember what it was either now. Where there was a film several years ago. I don't remember which one it was. Was it Civil War they were talking about? How they were going to do a version of it without Spider-Man and a version of it with Spider-Man because they weren't sure if they could get the Sony deal done in time.
Maybe.
If I remember
Yeah,
right,
I think.
you remember that?
I remember
So
that.
and I think they did later on confirm that they did have two separate scripts.
Okay.
And like Black Panther was going to kind of take that role a little bit more if they couldn't get the Sony deal done to get Spider-Man into it. So I could see them doing the same kind of thing here. And honestly, it wouldn't take that much. They could, get him in the recording booth for 3 days, record his lines all the way
Right.
through. Like he's not going to physically be there. And then, if they comes up, hey, we got him for 2 days, get him on the volume, get him in the suit. Let's do one of these scenes where he already recorded the lines for it. And, because they only had Christopher Lee for 1 day when they did Revenge of the Sith. Not that they only needed him for 3 minutes, but they only had him for 1 day and they made it work. Right. So I could see them doing something along those lines with Pedro.
Okay. All right, Jay.
Yeah, I agree actually with Manslayer in his comment. I think that there is time for I think The Mandalorian and Grogu might be the opportunity to have a big moment where Din actually distances himself from the cult and actually will start removing his helmet where he isn't so avid about always keeping the helmet on. So I think maybe I hope I could be wrong, of course, but I think that the Mandalorian and Grogu would be the perfect opportunity for like a big moment where, hey, Din doesn't have to wear the helmet all the time now.
I'm not like openly disagreeing with you. The only reason that it would give me pause to agree with you on that is he went through hell to go redeem himself after taking his helmet off.
Actually,
And
yeah,
you know what I mean? And that's the only thing that gives me pause. You could be dead right. And I'd be okay with it. But the only thing that gives me pause with yeah, no, you're absolutely right, is he fought tooth and nail to get to the mines of Mandalore. Anyway, that's a discussion for another time.
Both sides. Like I see
Yeah.
both sides.
Oh, yeah.
There's the side of the people that are like, there are all these different types of Mandalorians, and if there's the ones they're going to keep their helmets on, there's the ones that will take it off, and then there's the others that are kind of more on the line of they need to move beyond this whole always keep these stringent rules and move beyond that, and they want to see Pedro move beyond that. I think that ultimately they're going to stick with the whole helmet on thing, but I am hoping that similar to how the armor has made this exception for Bo-Katan to walk both worlds, I'm hoping that they do some sort of easy cop-out where
Where he
Pedro
can
is
walk low,
able to
yeah.
take it out. And like you said, it's a Christopher Lee type situation where he isn't necessarily, filming the whole movie without his helmet on. I think it's great if you limit those scenes some, give him some room to act in that. But it's these big moments that, like maybe twice in the movie, these big scenes, he has to take the helmet off to
Mhm.
do something that could add so much more weight to it and also keep I guess the lore of the helmet on and the whole bounty hunter stick thing, Mando stick going on. Maybe there's room for the best of both worlds. I like what you said, Brian, because it really wouldn't take long if it's just a handful of scenes. It wouldn't
Yeah,
take long for them to do that. It's just a matter of getting him on set and in
right.
the zone for a few days. But that would honestly take some really clever and creative writing that I'm not sure that Favreau and Filoni alone have proven
Right.
uh, in the scripts their ability to do that. The vision, I could see them having the vision there, but executing like the nuances of that, I'm a little bit concerned. And they're co-writing the movie, and so I'm a little bit concerned about that. Optimistic, but definitely concerned. Any other just little tidbits of Star Wars stuff that you guys saw this week that you wanted to tackle before we move on to the big moment?
Before Jay kills off another beloved prequel character.
We don't know that yet. I
Oh,
mean,
I got a
I got a
feeling.
hunch. Yeah.
Jay, anything you want to get off your chest
no, I'm good.
before we start? We're good.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. All right. So, Attack of the Clones. We have been going through just different saga films over the last, geez, like several weeks now, just here or there whenever we get a chance. And we're just kind of just looking back on them, not necessarily giving like a rating for these or a specific like review, that we're doing, but we're just looking back some of our favorite moments, some things we don't like, just like an open, honest discussion about what works and doesn't work for us in the saga films. And we just happen to be on the worst saga film. I mean, sorry, in my opinion, the worst of the saga films by far, not even close. Attack of the Clones, which happens to be the first movie I ever remember seeing in theaters, and I do have a soft spot for it because of how much I, loved it as a kid. But as we always begin, we want to talk about like favorite trailer or lead up moment. Of course, I was 5 when this movie came out, so I have no idea what the build up to it was, other than I was just excited as a little kid to go to see a Star Wars movie in theaters with my family. So Brian, you were there in the trenches,
Hmm.
2002. You weathered the 1999 storm. Uh, 3 years went
Yeah.
by, and I'm sure your hype was heightened for Attack of the Clones. Like you
Oh
were
yeah.
super hyped. Tell me, what was it like leading up to the big day?
The toys were got me like hyped the most. Like 'cause when they started doing the toys and everything, and it was just freaking that was my big thing. But I remember the first bit of marketing I saw for it was
Mhm.
there was a poster of Anakin and Padme like back to back, and Anakin had the red lightsaber, which never made
Yeah.
it into the movie, but it was just like, oh crap, like this is gonna be so cool.
Is
Because
that the
everybody
one with like the words in the middle where it has like the little
like
slogan of
down.
like you can't, or like a Jedi is to know no anger,
Yes,
nothing,
I
and then
believe so.
like
Yeah.
and no love or whatever, and
Hmm.
it's to him. Okay, yeah, that's a
Because I
that's
think
a great poster.
episode 3 was the poster they did with him with the red lightsaber, and his cape had Vader's mask
Right.
kind of in the wrinkles of the cape. So, but yeah, that one where he was back to back with Padme and the red lightsaber, I was like, holy crap, this is gonna be. But the toys started coming out, and it was just like, bring it on, dude. I
Mhm.
don't even remember. The only thing I remember seeing trailer wise, I saw a lot of TV spots because there was a
Right.
lot of because I watched a lot of Cartoon Network when I was a kid.
Mhm.
And they were really leading up to the episode 2 thing, and really had like interviews in between shows and stuff going on, talking about the Jedi in their prime, and we're showing clips of the Jedi on Geonosis, and
Mhm.
like all these hundreds of
Absolutely.
Jedi. And I was like, holy crap, this is going to be just completely wicked. And so that was really all I saw marketing wise going into episode 2. And I remember
Mhm.
my buddy called me. It was the days when like you had a landline phone in your house, and that was it. And like your dad would answer the phone and be like, hey, Josh is on the phone, wants to talk to you. And so you'd sit there and talk to your buddy on the phone for a while, and he's on his grandma's phone or whatever. And he was my buddy Josh called me and was telling me he had been at the movie theater and saw the first poster, and the title was Attack of the Clones.
Right.
And I remember him going, I don't think it's Anakin that turns to the dark side. I think it's his clone that turns to the dark side. And I'm like, you're an idiot. You're an absolute and total idiot. That's not even what this is going to end up being. And so,
oh my god!
But I remember
Brian educating the minds of America before
he was an idiot. And but the biggest thing that got me hyped was and I remember I was a kid in 2002. Yeah, in 2002 I was 12 going into 13 when this movie came out. But the thing that got me the hype the most was in the trailer seeing Yoda pull out the lightsaber for the first time. And you didn't really see him jump around or anything, but it was just like, and it was like, holy crap. But that was it leading up. Yeah.
That's one of the things that I still remember as a kid. I remember just like a handful of things. I remember it's in my car still to this day, the backpack that I had when I was 5 years old going to kindergarten or whatever it was. And it's the Attack of the Clones backpack. It has all the Jedi. It has like Mace, Anakin, Yoda, Obi-Wan, and then Padme's on there too. And then on the bottom of it, it's like all their faces. And on the bottom is like the droids and the clones like shooting at each other on Geonosis. And it's like this black backpack. It was really cool. I was like in kindergarten, I thought I was the coolest kid in the world. And I still have that backpack. It's what I use for all my like emergency stuff for my cars in there. Like I have like a first aid kit, jumper cables, like all that stuff. Because my dad and some of my mom was like, you got to throw this thing away. It's like, no, we'll find a use for this. This isn't going anywhere. And so it's still in my car. It still goes to school with me every single day. But I remember the toys, because I had so many toys, and then the Yoda part in the trailer. It's the only thing I actually remember going into the movie. I remember thinking to myself, I'm gonna see like Yoda like fights. Like I'm gonna see Yoda jump around, and whether or not it was a great execution of Yoda screaming and yelling around. I don't love that now. Like him just being like, whatever that is. But I remember when I saw it as a kid, it was like, that is the coolest thing that has ever happened in the history of in the history of movies. Jay, what about you? Just kind of like, we're about the same age. Do you remember seeing the movie in theaters, or is it more of you remember seeing it at some point, like, around the house, something like that?
No, I actually do remember seeing it in theaters. The funny thing is, I would have been 2.5 by the time like I actually saw it in theaters. But I do remember being in that, in the theater, and watching. I think probably like the biggest moment that stands out in my memory from that experience was the battle on the Colosseum in Geonosis, with the different monsters and Anakin, Padme, and Obi-Wan all like coming up with their own ways of fighting and like escaping from captivity. I think that scene still holds up really well. Like you guys, I mean, I also had a lot of the toys. Jango Fett, definitely my favorite. I mean, I think like a lot of kids like the Bounty Hunters, Boba Fett, for a lot of the for a few of like the older people, right, probably had like Boba Fett as a favorite, as a toy. I had Jango Fett, and like you guys, I mean, Yoda was like a big highlight. I mean, to see this small like little green guy coming out of a lightsaber and like holding his own weight against Count Dooku was really cool. It was really awesome. My brother really loved Count Dooku as well, like the lightsabers. Count Dooku to this day still has one of the best lightsabers in my opinion.
So let's talk about the toys for a second, because that's something that's just completely lost in today's day and age of video games, streaming, like everything. Just the toys, it's turned into this. I feel like obviously still there's a lot of kids that love playing with toys, but it's so much smaller now with technology taking over. It's not the same. The toy stores just don't exist like they used to.
There used to be an entire aisle,
just a wall,
one whole wall of Star Wars is all it used to be. And now you get
I remember my dad would take me every once in a while. We'd go out there and he'd be like, all right, you can pick one action figure. And I'd just be looking through all the, you'd be there an hour looking through all those things. And I had the ships. This was like my Christmas growing up, usually with my family, like for birthdays and Christmas. It's actually sad. It still is toys, but because I ask for toys all the time, but it was they would line up. My dad would always line up little action figures from my room, like delivering like these new action figures or a new ship, and I'd like go see it. Like that was like my Christmas a lot of years. I'd get these new toys, whatever it was. And I had when Attack the Clones came out, the speeders, the Zam and Anakin were flying. I don't know if you guys ever had these, but they have the speeders, but you could crash them and they would smash
Yeah.
in like they did in the
Like they
movie.
had
You
the
press a
damage, yeah.
button and then they would come out, and it was so cool. They pop out, and they were probably so annoyed because I would just take it all the time. I'm like 6 years old, like smashing it. It's a wonder those things still work to the way they do. But yeah, so just the toys in general, it's just a real shame what has happened. Like we're in the sequel trilogy era, and you can't find sequel trilogy toys anywhere. Like
You can't find any
anywhere.
toys anywhere hardly.
Well, yes, but they're coming up. But it just
Yeah.
blows my mind that there's this whole generation of Star Wars fans that have grown up without a lot of the experiences that made that's part of the magic of it all, from prequel trilogy and then the original trilogy with the toys. Jay, what do you think? What is your like? Do you have any these real thoughts on the toy situation and what that meant to you growing up, or?
No, I mean the toys meant a lot to me. I mean, I had like you guys, I had the vehicles. My favorite from episode 2 were the Slave One and Obi-Wan Starfighter. Those are really cool. And you can take them apart, like, and then Jango Fett's Slave One had the big sonic bomb that would go off.
Oh,
but
gosh.
I mean, like you guys, I mean, I too have
the
like
greatest
memories.
sound effect I've ever heard in my
Right.
life.
Absolutely, and still one of the it just sticks in your head when you hear that iconic boom. But no, like you guys, I mean, I had memories of going to Toys R Us, and like you guys, like huge aisles of nothing but just Star Wars. I think
Toys R Us, rip.
Right, but I think that yeah, it's interesting now because all of those most toy collectors nowadays are actual they're adults. I mean, if you think about like we're the ones who are buying the toys are we're on Hasbro Pulse, putting in our pre-orders for toys that aren't going to be here for another 6 to 8 months. So it's interesting. I mean, but I also understand. I think just it's interesting because nowadays it's a lot more time and efforts to manufacture this stuff, to put it out there, in these stores. And that's the other thing too, is like, what stores are you going to go to actually collect this stuff?
I would love to see data on this, because I don't know where that exists, and I'm not saying that it's not true how much like harder it is to sell all these things. I just wonder, did it become a thing where it was just easier for them to not do this and pump out little digital stuff or these bigger things that come out every so often versus pumping out like these little action figures? Because those things they're not these big Black Series ones, they're like just kind of the tinier ones. I just have a hard time thinking that there's not, like, if let's say this Mando Grogu movie comes out in 26, if they pumped out like 10 action figures for that movie, just different Mandos, different Baby Yodas, different other characters that are going to be in there. It just blows my mind to think that they don't think that there is just a massive group of people that are just going to be scooping those up, collectors, but mostly just the kids that really want Baby Yoda toys and Mando toys, at home. Like I genuinely, I would love to see. I don't know, like, if there's any just places out there to put data together on why they haven't done that, and it's honestly, to me, is one of the tragic things that's happened to just the fandom in general over the last, I guess, what, 6, 7, 8 years now at this point that this has been going on.
Yeah.
So let's move on, and we've had mostly positive vibes, so we're gonna keep the positive vibes going for, I guess, a few more minutes before we get into some of the rough patches of episode 2. So I want to ask you guys. I'll throw it to you, Brian. who is your favorite performance from this movie? Your favorite
Oh,
character, like the best performance from this movie. I guess even if it can be someone that's like a CGI character. If you just love Dex, you can talk about the guy who voiced Dex. You could just talk about that. But if you
hmm,
have a performance for me, I'll give you a second. It's Ewan McGregor for me. I think
yeah,
Ewan is fantastic, and it's a cry. And my beef with the movie is also in the fact that Ewan spends so much time talking to just like CGI generated
yeah,
characters. Like
it does.
I love Dex, I love the Kaminoans, but like Ewan for a lot of the time in the movie is walking around talking to people who aren't actually there. He's not really acting with anyone. So I would love to say that everything about Ewan's story is great. But it has nothing to do with him. I just think he is fantastic because it's not easy to pull that off.
Right.
And I love everything about Obi-Wan in episode 2 and the way that Ewan handles him and Anakin's relationship, and you can see the how much he cares, but also just how much of a strain it is on him as well, and not just on Anakin. And then everything to him and Christopher Lee, him and Count Dooku's showdown
Hmm.
when they talk when he's a prisoner. Ewan is fantastic in everything in Star Wars that he's done, but absolutely Episode 2, I just have to tip my hat to him. So Brian, what about you?
I'm gonna go with Ian McDermott's Palpatine because this is like the first time we really get to see him start to dig his claws into Anakin and really start planting seeds and start to nurture some other seeds that have been planted in between movies that we later found out about in
Mhm.
comics and stuff like that. I the only thing that kind of throws me off is like how much more like skeletal he looked in episode 2 compared to 3. Like he
Mhm.
looked great in 1 and then he looked like really close to being the emperor in 2 and then he went back to looking normal in 3 and it was like wait what. But I I thought his performance in that was really great, how he was really starting to sow those seeds of mistrust, or I'm sorry, distrust in the Jedi, and
Right.
Anakin talking about how you are quickly becoming the most powerful Jedi that I've ever, even more powerful Master Yoda, and just
Mhm.
starts like planting these seeds and boosting him up and being that kind of father figure to him. I loved it, especially the way he's acting right at the beginning before Obi-Wan and Anakin even make their entrance into the movie, when he's talking about more security for Padme, and he's like, perhaps someone you're familiar with, an old friend like Master Kenobi, and knowing good and well that Anakin was coming with him. It's
Mhm.
like it's just that, just to get Anakin back into the picture and to get him close to him again, and into events that were central around him and stuff.
Right.
I thought that whole performance was absolutely great. Him playing both sides the way we know he does in Clone Wars. And just especially at the end when he's looking at the armies of the clones, when you hear the Imperial March, that new version of the
Oh,
Imperial March going off in the background,
so good.
and he's just looking out over this army, and full well he's playing both sides and everything is in it. It's just such a great performance. I love it.
Mhm.
He's my favorite part of episode 2. um but yeah, Ian McDermott's Big Papa
He's
Palpatine,
on my
loved him.
list. He's on my list of people that I really want to meet at some point. He's
Oh
like
yeah.
I think he's at the
Oh
top of
god,
my Star
yeah.
Wars list. I was there, so MegaCon is coming to Orlando, and there's like having or they're having a MegaCon in Orlando in like 2 weeks. And now he went last year, I think, but he's not coming this year. I was really disappointed because I'm gonna be there for MegaCon. I was like, oh, I would have made anything happen to chat with him for a minute. Honestly, just say thanks too because he's amazing. But
Oh
oh, my
yeah.
favorite line of his in that movie is when he's just like, "I love democracy, I love the republic," like, and he's like
Yeah.
promising to get
Oh
us
my
back. And
god.
my dad, like, yeah, so like
Or when they're trying to
he would
manipulate.
quote that line to
Yeah.
me growing up whenever I would argue with him about like something I didn't want to do, and he just like would listen. He's like, "I love democracy," and then and then he like would go back and be like, "Now go," you like get out of
Let
here.
the hate flow. No, like when they're manipulating Jar Jar too into giving him the emergency powers in the office, and they're like, "But what senator would have the nerve to propose such a radical amendment?" Like it's just, oh, I loved it.
What about you, Jay?
I mean, both of you
Well,
guys suggested like really good performances. Ewan McGregor, obviously, and then actually Manslayer mentioned Sir Christopher Lee in the comments
Yeah.
as Count Dooku. I too agree. There's some great performances in this movie from the entire main cast. I wanted to highlight though, like one character I think that really helps just shape a lot of even just the expanded universe, and that's Jocasta Nu. I think actually
Oh yeah.
like okay, so if we're talking like main characters, all of them are really great, even Hayden Christensen. But I think as far as just like a small character, but with a really big impact, Jocasta Nu, and I want to mention the actress too, Alethea McGrath. Her performance as Jocasta Nu is actually pitch perfect. It's very comical. I'll be honest. It's a little bit, very smug and very just like
Arrogant.
kind of
Yeah.
arrogant. And when you're watching it in
Does
theaters,
she have
I
2
remember watching.
lines?
How many lines does she have?
I
Actually,
think
What is
3.
it?
3 or
It's
Does she
4.
like
really?
1 or 2. She says,
Are you having a problem,
Kenobi.
Master Kenobi?
That's right. Yeah. And then she goes,
Camino,
Camino.
not a system I'm
Right.
familiar with.
But I think
It
that
doesn't
like
appear in our archives.
She has like
right.
5
And
lines, 4 or 5.
Then
Yeah.
she's, if it doesn't appear in our archives, then it does not exist.
Yes, exactly. That line though, when you really think about it though, like it's a great encapsulation of the downfall of the Jedi though at
Yeah.
that time.
They
I
had
It's
just
the
think
fact
it's
that
a snobby librarian.
right. It's the fact
Mhm.
that like this is why the Jedi fell, because they couldn't realize that they were so high and mighty, thinking that no one could break into our archives and just get rid of a system. And then it takes a little child to
Mhm.
humble these great, mighty, wise Jedi, right? And I think that
Right.
for such a small part, and again for just like a minute character that only has a few lines, absolutely crushes it.
Yeah.
I agree. I also love you, Jay, but I feel like you're digging too deep on that one. I love it, but I'm like,
Star
we
Wars
got
deep track,
these
man.
we got these characters here. Favorite performance, and you went with Jocasta.
Youngling
You went
number
with
8.
Jocasta Nu. Like she just
Because somebody
she's
erased it from the archive memory. That kid.
I love that kid. I
Youngling
love
number
that
8.
How wonderful the mind of a child is.
I love it. That kid should have won an Oscar.
Yeah, I thought Jay was gonna say Zam Wessel. Like it's like I would have hit it, but they killed the thing before, and then there could be no mistakes this time or whatever. Whatever that was. I don't know if she said
Yeah,
anything. She
no,
said something else in like Huttese at the end or something.
It's hilarious how Palpatine, now that you brought up Zam Wessel, Palpatine wanted Dooku to kill Padme. So, or I'm sorry, the Nemoidians wanted him to kill Padme. And so he hired Jango Fett, who hired Zam Wessel, who did it with space slugs. Like, just kept passing the buck off to somebody else to try
kept on
to do it.
outsourcing the
work. Like I love you, Jay, but Jocasta, like I love it. I love it.
No, that's fine.
It does be lore, but from that movie, not like the lore that comes afterwards, because that's why I can't say Count Dooku for me. Like Christopher Lee does, I think, a great job at Count Dooku, but there's so much about the character that I think doesn't make sense in the movie, and it's just hastily thrown in.
Okay.
But if I watch Clone Wars and I think about the Clone Wars with it, I'm like, oh my gosh, like Lee is perfect. Like that character is fantastic. But I have all these seasons of seeing Count Dooku in the inner workings of the Clone Wars. Like it just doesn't work for me. Not to say Lee isn't fantastic in the movie. He is. It's just, oh man. Like Youngling number 8, I think. I'll take Youngling number 8 over Jocasta Nu on that one. But let's talk about some things that just don't necessarily work for us. I got a few off the top of my head.
Are we keeping the show to an hour?
We're gonna try.
Okay.
So I mentioned before, I love Ewan McGregor's performance in this. I love the whole mystery aspect of this. Like they're trying to solve this mystery of like what is going on, who's after Padme, what's really going on with the Separatists and everything. However, and I mentioned this before, Ewan doesn't, he has this stretch of like an hour in the movie where we don't see him talk to like a real person outside of his brief conversation with Django that's like, ever made it this far as Coruscant? Possibly. And like that's about it. That's about all we get. And then he's, fighting, he's with the community.
Talking to the droids.
That's just, to me, is just a massive waste of Ewan's talent. Second, and this is something we're all gonna bring up. The scenes with Anakin and Padme.
Yes.
If you take away the dialogue, if you replace those
So
scenes with some
rapey.
really
Can we say
good,
that?
probably not.
Oh, man. I'm sorry.
If you say that, if you drop those scenes in with some like real good quality writing, they work. They will work given
Right.
the dynamics of what's going on. Like they will work. But the dialogue is so bad. It is so bad. And this was where George made his biggest mistake in the prequels. Was in the originals, he had teams with him that were helping him with these scripts. He had the story, he had the vision, and he had people all around. This time around, he's pretty much doing so much of this is
Everything.
just George's brain. And I think that's kind of where some of these fall short. So those are like, to me, two just biggest absolute, no-nos, like just absolutely horrible. And then I'm gonna have an opinion about the arena fight scene later that's gonna make some people mad. But Brian, what do you think about those two? If you have a different one too, bring it up. But
the scenes with Anakin and Padme are very cringy. And honestly, look, Anakin hadn't been around women. He didn't know how to talk to women. He didn't know how to, he when you, and think about in real life, like, right, you get around somebody you love, you basically turn to butter. You have no idea how to act. You have no idea how to talk. So I
Well, maybe
get
you
it, but
do.
maybe, yeah. I'm zero confidence. So like, it's just, I don't. Like the whole caressing the skin, like while they're standing there looking out at the island and stuff, is just weird. But then it's not just Anakin though; it's Padme too. Like she's like getting ready to tell Anakin how the kiss was such a mistake and how they can't be together. But let's just put on the most sexy outfit that I can find to do it in, and like it's just they're both just so bumbling over it, and we always talk about Anakin's dialogue and how clunky it is, and the whole sand thing. We talk about that. Nobody ever talks about Padme, and it's the same thing with her. And it's just, I don't know. It's just,
well, the Padme stuff is definitely like, I just think, again, it just comes down to the script for me. It's just the script. It doesn't mesh well. The kind of cold undertones distancing undertones she's trying to give, makes sense given Anakin's behavior. But then the radical shift to this loving thing, we don't see like much of the like tenderness and care from Anakin. We see most of the kind of cocky teenager at first, and then just some of the like immaturity that comes out. We don't ever like really see their dynamics play. And the whole thing, to me, if you look in the deleted scenes for this movie, Padme has some amazing deleted scenes.
Oh,
that they
yes.
cut out. Her speech in the Senate, there's stuff with her family that if some of that is
so
kept
good.
in there, it would have added to their relationship, because we would have seen them interact in just a normal environment.
Anakin interacting with her father, like, telling him if she really was in danger or not, is so good. Yeah.
And that I think would have helped tremendously with the idea of like this romance where he's meeting her parents, they're having these conversations, that they're seeing how much he cares for her, protects her. And it would almost make sense, given the poor dialogue, having these other people that are in the show or in the movie speaking into that like dynamic between them. Jay, what about you?
I mean, just before I get into like the whole romance thing, I want to mention that like aside, like it's not in any way Hayden Christensen's or Natalie Portman's fault for this.
Yeah.
Actually, like their performances are spot on for what is given to them. Like you guys said,
like what they were asked to do, like what they were like really asked to do.
It's the script. And of course, and like Brian, you said, Hayden Christensen, when he's playing Anakin, he's actually correct in his performance. This is a guy who's never been around women. He's basically a monk who doesn't know how to talk to girls, or just like talk to someone he's attracted to. And yeah, of course this guy would be a little bit creepy. That being said, You're right about Padme.
Well, in the script is better too.
yeah.
Like, look at episode 3. Like, Hayden is awesome in episode 3, and everyone loves, I feel like, his performance in episode 3. He's given
Right.
a lot more material to work with that
Yeah.
works. Anyway,
Yeah.
continue, Jay.
No, but like Brian said, though, I think we also have to talk about Padme because, well, it's right there, because he himself, everyone can see it. This guy has some issues. This guy has some
Red
problems.
flags.
Yeah, right. He has some big red flags that he has to work out.
Mhm.
But Padme, you don't have to fall in love with the guy. You don't have to marry the guy, right? I mean,
0 to 60.
yeah. Let's be honest. Okay, I'll be honest real quick. I don't have any kids that I know of.
I know we had to throw that, but I know.
Right.
Yeah,
She should have died.
But if I have a daughter, and she brings home episode 2 Anakin Skywalker, I'm thinking to myself, did I fail? Did I fail as a parent? Because
Jay's having a crisis
on the
right
grass.
He's having a hypothetical crisis.
That scene where they're on the grass and
Daddy, I love him.
Oh
my God.
Slaughtered children.
Oh my God.
I should that scene too. On
That
Tatooine,
was
where
George Lucas had a
Anakin-
slaughtering children thing, I guess, at that point in time, because the episode 3 and then he slaughtered. He's like
Oh my God.
kills the children's sand people, and then he's like, it'd be even wilder. We're gonna kill actual children.
But no, that scene was another scene I was gonna bring up because Padme in episode 3 goes, I don't know you anymore. You've changed. I'm like, really?
Has he though?
Yeah. I mean, the guy killed.
There is the
Killing younglings?
Well, there is
Yeah,
the
you did it in
element
episode
of
2.
I think we have to understand too. There is more time that passed by in that movie than we actually get to see of them. It's like it's almost like we got this brief 2-minute trailer of the most intense moments that they share together on their journey. We don't get to see any of the subtlety. There's even the deleted scene, I think, where they're on they're posing as refugees in the ship. There's a deleted scene there where they actually have this really good conversation before what we see in the movie, and it seems as if all the subtlety from their relationship just got cut out for the really intense moments. And so you're like, wait, how did we get here? I've always felt like Padme has gotten the short end of the stick when it came to prequel content.
She has.
Just because,
especially in 3. Yeah.
In 3, it is
she was a plot device.
Absolutely. And then there's some deleted scenes, of course, in 3 where she's talking about starting the rebellion with some of the forming this alliance.
Yeah.
Similar, and there are things in there, and even in Clone Wars, there were times where there were different stories that they were going to do centering Padme, and then they pulled them back to do other things. And then even in the Padme trilogy of books they have, she deserves better than some of those books. And those books are absolutely terrible. And Queen Shadow is in my opinion, the only good Padme book that we have. And in that book, she talks about, there's a lot of stuff in there about Anakin and what matters in the Queen's Peril, the last one, I think, or Queen's Hope is the last one. And there is some good stuff with Anakin and Padme, and we do see that, but it's just really frustrating that she has gotten the short end of the stick in a lot of these things. And I don't know how you remedy that at this point. I don't know if there's anything you can do besides another novel or something with animation at some point. I think it just is what it is, but that's probably the biggest, I think, prequel gripe as a whole. Do you guys have a favorite shot from the movie? A favorite moment? For me, while you're thinking, there's the dust scene on Geonosis where the thing lands, cool. And you can't even see the two sides. You just see the clones shooting back and forth with the droids, and it's just the light of the blaster bolts kind of going back. And I wrote that one down. And then the second one was Anakin overlooking the Tusken Raider camp in the dark. Where it's just completely dark. You have like the moonlight, the camp's lit, and it just feels dark. You have the dark music playing, and it's that moment and then just scene of him looking down. And then the last one, Christopher Lee, Count Dooku, smiling as him and Obi-Wan are clashing, knowing he's about to just go slice his leg. But Jay, you have a shot that you just love from that movie. It just encapsulates something.
I do actually. And it's at the end where Anakin and Count Dooku are going at it, and Anakin cuts to the ground, and it's in complete darkness, and then they're holding up their two lightsabers, and then you just see the Christopher Lee and Hayden Christensen's faces illuminated by the lightsabers. I think that part was like really cool, like because it's something actually like as kids, well, we all kind of just did that. We're just like playing with lightsabers in the dark and just having that like the light illuminate from the lights, like our faces from the lightsabers. And I think just seeing that on screen, it's a really cool shot.
Ryan?
I gotta agree with Manslayer. The scene at the end where Palps is looking out over the armies as they're deploying through the Star Destroyers. I absolutely adore that scene. The music and it's awesome, just all of it, and just an awesome scene. And real quick, I want to bring up also, you mentioned earlier the Padme novels and how much you hate them. Did you read the last one, the Queen's Hope? Did you finish the trilogy?
I've read them.
So there's a little bit of a discrepancy in canon there between that novel and episode 2. There's a part of that novel that takes place like right before Anakin and Padme's wedding. Like their wedding is in that novel, and
right
before the wedding, 3PO walks in and he's got his gold plating on, and it talks in there about how Padme gave him the gold plating and updated him and everything like that, made him look new. And then in episode 2, he's back to his like Tatooine plates. I just thought you would appreciate that they screwed something up in canon with those books.
I love that hating
with
certain.
Palps.
I love being more frustrated now with the books.
Yeah, they're not good. They're look.
Queen Shadow is good. Queen Shadow is good.
Which one? I think it might have been Hope that had a little bit of a. I'm going to go off on a tangent for just a second. How Padme never told Sabe about Anakin, and then they switched places.
It's that one because
is it that one? And then
Peril is basically
the
Phantom Menace retelling, and then Shadow is the one where she's working in the Senate with Bonteri, and you kind of learn more about Sabe's going back and forth different places, things like that.
There was a scene in the third one where they had switched places, and Anakin comes to see Padme, and he didn't know they had switched places, and it's Sabe. Like if I remember right, like he crawls into bed or something, or she's like, "Who's sneaking in here?" And when he realizes what's going on, like even he didn't know. And then the next morning she's getting her hair done and she's like, "So I had a visitor last night," and her other handmaid's like, "What are you talking about? Who?" "Oh shit." And she's like, she realizes who came. There's a couple of moments in those books. I'm going to defend them just for a couple of moments in those books that are funny, but for the most part,
they're not like bereft of any quality like in there. There's just really sells it short. So just like we started, I got a couple things. Thumbs up, thumbs down for Attack of the Clones. Dexter Jetster, thumbs up, thumbs down. Brian had to think about that one.
He's all right, yeah.
Okay, Jay was an easy thumbs up. It was an easy thumbs up.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So Dex also okay. The whole Jango Fett and Boba Fett stuff. Thumbs up or thumbs down?
No.
Wow.
Not into it.
No.
Okay.
I like Jango and Boba. I like it, but they took all the mystery out of Boba Fett.
Just by saying he's just this clone from this one other guy.
Yeah, took all the mystery out of it. Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. Let's see. Just the Kaminoans in general. They're magnificent. They Kaminoans good, bad, don't care. No, thumbs down on the Kaminoans.
Hang on. You're telling me Obi-Wan comes up just clueless as heck.
And they're just like, "Hey,
oh yeah, sure, I am Sifo-Dyas. Oh, that guy died 1,000 or however long it was." And then
that's why I'm here.
And then the Kaminoans go and showing like the clones anyways. Like, what are you doing? Like, where's security?
I'm expected.
Yeah. Because the
Master
Kaminoans
Jedi.
Kaminoans had no security.
Was she standing there just looking out that window for like 10 years, just like waiting on Obi-Wan to
That's a
show
good
up?
point.
Because she was
It's like
like, yeah,
today's the day. Today's the day.
maybe
It's-
today.
It's like us waiting for the Acolyte trailer.
We were beginning to think you weren't coming.
Oh man.
Oh man.
I wonder if Star Wars like every time like they drop a trailer, they just sit back and like they're like, hey, so like they're just like him. It's magnificent. Like it's magnificent, aren't they? Like look at their trailer. Anyway, okay. C3PO puns. There are so many puns in this movie.
No,
Like the
yeah.
one where R2, like the worst one is when
Oh, this
R2's
is such
got
a
him.
drag.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, that one is the
Oh
worst.
no.
Okay.
So bad.
Puns,
Oh, I'm quite
they're not
beside
fun.
myself. Yeah, no, it's so bad.
Oh man.
Shut
right.
me down.
Got two more. One, Yoda, or three more. Sorry, Yoda's screaming, raging fight scene with Count Dooku. Thumbs up, thumbs down.
I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it.
Okay. All right. Okay with
Take it
it.
or leave
Middle.
it. Yeah.
Take it or leave it. Okay. Second one, the Colosseum fight with the Jedi and the droids. Everything about like the Colosseum, like moments, everything about that. Thumbs up, thumbs down.
I like it.
I think it's
Yeah.
a cool entrance. Yeah.
Okay. Entrance sold. I hated the battle. I'll be honest. I hate the battle now. Like it's literally it didn't feel powerful to me. It just like it turned into the Jedi just kind of standing in a circle blocking laser bolts. And
Yeah, they
I
eventually
want
became fodder. Yeah.
like I just want to see them just kind of going around it like honestly, and it's just kind of extreme. I want to see the Jedi doing some Porter Ingalls stuff where in the comics, if you read, did you read the Blade comics, Brian?
Yeah.
And Jay just read them. He's literally dancing around fighting people. He's not even holding his lightsaber. He's using the Force to whip it
Yeah.
around. Like, not that we have to have some crazy stuff like that, but
Don't
I was
worry.
hoping
The acolyte
to-
is coming, I think.
Oh man. And then the last one, the most important question of all, Jar Jar Binks.
I knew you were
Thumbs up.
going to say that.
Thumbs
No.
down.
No, I knew you were going to say that. The fact that he didn't say hardly anything, I'll give a thumbs up.
All right.
But it's all his
Perfect.
fault. Everything's his fault.
I would say, just to go in the chat, Casey Barkles says that my favorite prequel soundtrack with the music leans into the mystery and unknown. I actually really do love Across the Stars. It's so good. The soundtrack for this movie is good. I think it's better than Phantom Menace. I think Duel of the Fates is amazing when it comes to Independence, but as a whole, I think I'll take Attack of the Clones too.
Yeah.
And then 100%, it has the worst use of droids in the entire saga.
Hanging off the thing. That's a nightmare. Like, Jesus.
Oh, it's the worst. There's so many like just.
Anakin put some serious servos in those droid hands. I'll tell you what.
And before we leave, are the segments that we've all been waiting for. You're getting rid of one character from this movie. You're getting rid of one character. They no longer exist
Jay,
in this movie.
You go first.
We'll start with Brian. We got to.
I don't know.
To...
I need to think. Jay, go ahead. I know he's already got a pipe bomb. Like he's in the back corner, like trying to light the fuse right now.
It is your time. The time has come. You knew this was coming. Don't tell me you're not prepared. Like you knew this was coming.
I like you, Natalie Portman, but
oh no, here we go.
I'm sorry, Padme.
No, I knew that was gonna happen. I knew it. No.
Explain yourself.
Look, like I said,
this
this guy has issues. This guy has Anakin has clear issues in the script. Why are you falling in love with this guy? Don't marry this guy, please. For any young girls watching, like for any.
Wait, so you're getting so your solution to this is not like we're gonna do something. We're not doing something. We're going to give her the axe. She's dead. She's no longer this. That's the solution.
No, that's not the solution. I'm like obviously. Well, the solution is
the solution.
Get
in
Anakin
the first
mental
one was
health,
to kill
like,
Qui-Gon because we wanted Obi-Wan to train Anakin from the beginning.
Look,
now it's we're offing Padme.
The solution is get Anakin a real therapist. don't just tell the guy like, hey,
Well, he's gonna
pipe it
need
down a
to
little.
now because his wife
my
just
God.
got killed. Like his
Well,
wannabe wife just got
look.
axed.
Okay, when a guy let
He's
me
gonna be
just
sitting
tell.
in his couch. He's like, Jay, just he did it
Jay,
again. He took
Jay,
away my
all Jay
father
can see
figure.
is all Jay can see in his head right now is his daughter bringing home Anakin Skywalker. He's like,
And
"Did I fail?" Like,
Anakin is in therapy because of Jay. He's like, Anakin's sitting there. Jay, he killed my father figure, Qui-Gon. Now he's killed the love of my life. Like, what's next?
Look. Hang on. For young girls out there, if there's a guy like I know this is a guy problem too. A lot of times we see like the cute guy or hot girl, whatever, and they have problems and they have red flags, and we think, oh, I can fix that. You can't. Just let them fix
Jay
themselves.
is speaking from some personal trauma like going on.
oh boy.
Jay 100%
Oh,
is
boy.
speaking from something that has happened to him at some point in his life and gone.
I-
That's what is happening.
I'm the one. I'm Anakin. I'm the one of the
Oh my
problems.
God.
He's the one that
At least Anakin wasn't a DJ. Like, oh my God. Oh boy.
Look,
Almost
just Padme. Like, I think you're a great individual. I think you're a great queen.
too late.
You can't fix him.
That's too
You
late.
can't fix him.
You've
boy.
agreed. Padme's amazing. If we're getting rid of anyone in this movie, Brian, who is it?
It's Jar Jar. But you look, I'll give Jay this. I think Padme was a little bit racist because she was okay with him killing Tusken children, but then when
Oh,
it's
yeah.
human children, she's like, "What have you
100%.
done?" Yeah,
Yes.
it's like, so it's okay for one, but not the other. It's a little racist. But anyway, I'm going Jar Jar, man, because like what Manslayer said, like I would like to have a beer with Manslayer because we agree on a lot of stuff, not everything, but a lot of stuff. I think Jar Jar being manipulated as easily as it was. And honestly, think about it. It's Padme's fault Jar Jar was in that role. So, it goes back to Padme again. But yeah, that's the one thing he thought he did right in his life. He just, not only like in episode 1, he was just destroying everybody's day, like he was just annoying. In episode 2, he destroys the galaxy. It's not like annoying Qui-Gon is not enough. Let's just take out the whole galaxy while we're at it. So, yeah, I'm going Jar Jar. But my second, I hate to say it, I gotta agree with Jay on Padme.
You guys are out of your mind.
Yeah,
You
probably.
guys are out of your mind. Like Natalie Portman is amazing.
No, she is.
Padme
You're
is a great
absolutely right.
character.
You're absolutely right.
She's so central to everything that becomes Darth Vader. Like that's the thing.
He becomes Darth Vader.
She literally,
but you can't blame that on.
She
Padme.
met a 9-year-old boy one day. She knew him for 3 days. She didn't see him for 10 years. And then he comes back into her life just like really creepy and like cringe.
Let's not act like
and then marries him
Anakin
2 days later.
Let's not act like those 3 days were just some 3 days. In those 3 days, he was able to single-handedly save her from isolation on Tatooine, where she would have eventually been either taken prisoner by Darth Maul or killed. He freed her planet from the Trade Federation by blowing the ship. Had such a profound impact that she started a relief program through Sabe to try to find Shmi to free her, like on Tatooine. Let's not act like it was just 3 days. Like,
yeah, but that doesn't mean you marry the guy the next time you see him.
Well, he's not. But the next time she sees him, now he is grown up.
That's like having a crush. That's like having a crush on somebody for 3 days, and then you don't see him for 10 years, and then you see him one weekend. You have a wild weekend in Vegas and get married, even though he went and murdered everybody at this weird like hippie camp. And you're just like, oh, he still seems like an all right guy. He was going through a lot.
He saves so much of her universe in the first time he's the second time he comes back. He saves her life on multiple occasions. He's charged with her life. He's met the parents. They all like him. Obviously, I'm not trying to say that this Anakin is some flawless individual at all. And that's not what I'm trying to say at all. It's ridiculous that the whole thing happened. But to me, that's like a scripting. But I can see that. Assuming there are some subtle moments going on there somewhere, like I can see how it does work, especially the way it fleshes out later. But Oh my gosh, sorry, got a little worked up there. I will defend Padme. Any Padme slander is not acceptable.
Who you
Over
cutting?
here. Oh, it's quite simple to me. I'm cutting Klieg Lars. That guy
That was on my list too.
couldn't protect the mother of the chosen one. Like, are you
Yeah.
kidding me? And then you lost your leg. Guess what? Half the people in the Star Wars galaxy have lost a limb.
Build
They're
a new one.
like they're literally half the people
You
in the
have a
galaxy are
whole
walking around without different
garage full of parts.
appendages and things. Go hang out. You got a droid there. Just steal his leg, patch it on. Like 3PO.
That's where
can hop
3PO got the
around.
silver leg. No, I'm just.
And then go out there and at least know he's like, your mother's dead, son. Like, you don't know
Oh,
crap,
geez.
dude. Like, you suck. Like, this is why Luke was so ready to get out of the freaking farm, because these Lars are a bunch of losers.
Bunch of backwoods rednecks.
Oh man. Like, name's Lars, Shmee's my wife. Yeah, no, he's the worst. Klieg. I hope Klieg was like somehow
He
Klieg
got
was
his,
still
though.
alive.
He got his though, because he was like, we all went after her, we never found her, and Anakin's gone overnight, and he brings her back. Like,
Yeah. No, this is
You
what
know.
I hope. This is my headcanon for what happened to Klieg. Obi-Wan Kenobi show. Reva walks into the Lars homestead and chilling in the spare bedroom is old man
Building him a
Klieg.
new
He's
leg.
really old, and he's kind of like using his crutches.
10
He's on his
years. It
little
took me
motorcycle.
10 years to build this new
And
leg.
she slices his new leg off, and then she lets him hop around, and then she kills him, and he gets his from Reva.
Oh man.
Absolutely. And the first thing he says, then he's like, "Thought you might, show up someday," or he's like, "Name's Lars, meet my wife. Gonna come inside. We have a lot to talk about." So yeah, I let your wife get kidnapped by the Tusken Raiders. I went out and gave
man.
up on her. I'm guessing she's dead. I'm just chilling here, floating around on my little, speeder here. Oh man, he's the worst. To get rid of Padme before you're getting rid of Lars or even Jar Jar.
Jesus.
Get out of here.
Oh man.
All right,
Oh.
so where does this let's dig here? Like, where does this rank on your saga films for you? Like in terms of Star Wars movies? To me, it's last for me.
We're doing saga films, right? We're not counting like Rogue One and Solo, just 1 through 9.
Just 1 through 9.
Okay.
If you want to count those two, that's fine too. It's still
It don't matter. It's still too
me.
far. It's too close to the bottom. It doesn't matter. I'm doing second from the last.
Okay.
Second worst.
What's last for you again?
Rise of Skywalker.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, I understandable.
Yeah.
Well, Rise of Skywalker is not far ahead of Attack.
No. I'm not going to beat a dead horse either.
Actually,
that's
I
what
think
it is
Rise
for
of
me,
Skywalker is right before Attack of the Clones. It's like second to last, and then we're just flipped.
Yeah. No, I'm not going to beat a dead horse on why, but yeah, it's to me that's what it is.
Right. Jay?
No, it's last. Yeah, I mean, with you, Tyler. I'm with you. Look. There, like we discussed. There's a lot of stuff we really like about this movie. Like Ewan McGregor. I like the clones. I like Yoda. I like even the sound design. We haven't really even gotten to talk about the sound design.
You better not say
you like
Padme. You better not say that.
Look, Kate.
I'm sorry. I'm done.
I mean,
stop.
But we look. We all agreed.
If it makes you feel any better, Jay, I see where you're coming from. I get it.
Yeah, I see where he's coming from. I'm just dismissing it.
Oh.
That just makes me an asshole, though.
So,
okay.
so I'll be fair though. I'll be fair. I haven't read the Queen trilogy by E.K. Johnston. I don't know if that's
don't waste your time. Don't waste your time.
Well, there we go.
Read Queen's Shadow. Read that one book is really good. Read that one.
Peril is just an episode 1 rehash.
Peril gives you the first 50 pages are pretty cool because it gets into the story of the handmaidens, but after that it just is a retelling of episode 1. If you want just some mindless read, because it's super quick, you can pump through it really easily. But I wouldn't spend a lot. There's a lot of other great Star Wars books, but Queen's Shadow is actually a really, really good book. I'll give it that. That one's solid.
Good to know.
Oh man. All right, Brian. Where can we find you, Brian?
You guys can find me on my show, the Star Wars Canon Podcast. We're getting ready to fire back up. But definitely go check out our website, StarWarsCanon.net. Like I said, I say every week, it's still under construction, but we're getting there. We're plugging away at it. Getting that timeline put together after everything that has come out is way more tedious than you would think it is. Trying to figure out exactly where every little issue of comics goes and everything like that. So definitely go check that out. You guys can find my show there also, as well as some episodes for a show. If you guys are Marvel fans, a couple of the guys in my group started a Marvel podcast. Some of those episodes are on there. They're going to end up getting their own website here before long. So definitely go check out StarWarsCanon.net.
And what about you, Jay?
So you can find me on Star Wars Newsnet as a writer, and you can also find me at Utini as a contributor. I am still working on my new video game YouTube channel. I think I can actually even, I don't know if I've said it before, but my YouTube channel is called Good Games Dude, and I'm really happy about that. So stay tuned, and more to share about pretty soon.
And as always, check out some of Jay's stuff that he writes on Star Wars Newsnet. I always like plugging that because he does a great job. And then Brian, obviously, everyone check out Brian's website too. With the timeline getting cranking up, it's actually really, really cool. For me, I have 3 reviews I'm writing this week, so it's going to be a busy writing weekend for me. I have the latest High Republic comic. High Republic comic. I got the Obi-Wan Kenobi adaptation comic, and then Escape from Valhalla, which I just finished, which is actually, it's really good. I love the middle grade novels because for the most part, they usually aren't too dark and terrifying. There's some really intense stuff in those books, but they're not just these plunges of death that you get sometimes in the adult novels. So it's almost like a nice reprieve from some of the intense stuff that we get in High Republic. But it's fun. It's a fun little book. So yeah, you can catch me with some reviews there. Be working with Brian here to get some stuff figured out, and then I'll start pumping out some videos out on here, some little shorts and just a couple short videos pretty soon. Hopefully we'll get some technical crap figured out for next week. But guys, always a pleasure. That was a fun episode.
Yeah,
that was a good time.
That was really fun.
Best time of the week, as always. Until next time, for Light and Life, Brian, take us out.
May the Force be with you guys.